it's a cycle. We've gone on this before. It went from this tattoo machine to rotary tattoo machine, back to this tattoo machine, back to rotary tattoo machines, back to this tattoo machine, because this tattoo machine works.
How cool, brothers and sisters. Welcome to AquaBrain TV. On this show, we chat tattoo machines with Victor Zurn. Coming to us from Prescott, Arizona. You can find Victor at Zurn Machines on Instagram. That's Zurn Machines on Instagram. Victor, thanks for coming back on the show, man.
No, thanks for having me again, dude. Seriously.
Yeah, for sure. I know last time it was like, I was sitting in front of my computer. I had a guest bail and I'm like, Victor's online. You were clutch. That was awesome.
Hell yeah.
It's not,
well, I'm always there to try to help out, so.
I was going to say, not the first time you helped me out.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, gosh, I don't know where were we living, in the van or something? And you,
yes,
like me, Kathy and I were straight freezing in this van.
like Eskimos in the van, man.
Gosh. You're like, dude, you can't come.
Yep.
Come to the castle, my friend.
Yep.
Well, cool, dude. So how long have you been tattooing and how'd you get into it?
Well, really, actually, I've been tattooing for about 16 years now. And I got into it. It was a fluke. I mean, really, I had never, in my past, I had a couple of, friends that were tattoo artists.
Yeah.
That it's, oh, hey, maybe you should think about it. And it really, that whole lifestyle did not appeal to me. I mean, it was all bikers and, just like mayhem. And I didn't want to have anything to do with it. And I wanted to just be a graphic artist. I wanted to be a graphic artist. I wanted to do skateboard graphics. We kind of had talked about that before, like, and that kind of just like, I was a graffiti artist. I was doing some graphic arts here and there. I was doing some silk screening. I went to my friend's tattoo shop one day and just went in to say hi to everybody. And I had done graffiti for this guy before. I'd done screen painting for this guy before. And he was literally, after I'd been there about a half an hour, was like, hey, you want an apprenticeship? And at the point, pretty much my job that I was doing was I was stage crew. All right, I'll take you up on it. And by the end of the day, he had ordered me like my tattoo machine and that was it. The guy that taught me was this young kid, Nathan Balassi, and my buddy Clay was like, hey, you teach Victor how to tattoo? And this kid was like, dude, you gave me my first snowboard when I was like, I was this tall, like,
yeah,
tiny little kid, little Hawaiian kid, and hooked him up with his first snowboard. And he was like, dude, I'd love to teach you how to tattoo. And so that was it. I just started going to work. I apprenticed for like 6 months. And, it was in my hometown. So everybody that I'd gone to school with that had like my art, like all kinds of people just came. I had so much free skin to tattoo on. My buddy was finally like, bro, you need to start charging people because like, this is ridiculous.
Right.
And, yeah.
You're money.
Your tattoos out of here and nobody's paying for them. And the other guys aren't making money because everybody and everybody's getting tattoos from you. So, and so that was the beginning of it, and I fell in love with it instantly because it was another form of art that like really like, and it really meant something because then I was touching people too. It was like the emotions that were like, I mean, that was probably the hardest thing to get past in the beginning was first off that I'm hurting people, and then second, the stories that come along with the tattoos and not let those stories affect me because some of the stuff is crazy heavy. You're like a low budget counselor. Okay. Like they're only paying me $200 an hour. Okay. Like all their shit. So,
so you started tattooing and then somehow you ended up getting your own shop, right? In Long Beach?
Well, no, actually, originally because I was from Port Orchard, and we had moved to South Lake Tahoe, and we had moved around, and I moved back to Washington. And a friend of mine actually called me and said to me, the shop that you used to work in is empty.
In PO.
You should move back to Port Orchard and you should open this shop, because it's like it's right there at the corner, right by the DMV, like right on a busy corner. And I was like, yeah, I know, I worked there. That is a good shop. It was already set up. I didn't have to build anything.
Nice.
It was just a turnkey tattoo shop. And it was dead in Nevada, because I went down to Nevada to do some tattooing, and it was just like living in a little trailer in a trailer park, like a little 26-foot trailer, living like white trash.
Oh, geez.
Dog, walking to work each day up the highway, like, and not getting any work.
Oh, man.
I mean, the guys there, Josh and his wife were amazing. Like, I mean, I did get work. I got more work than I should have. They even said, for the time of year, I moved down there like in the fall when everything dies off. Those guys are established. They got clientele. There's like walk-ins that time of year in the middle of the desert. So I got a hold of my grandma, and my grandma was my savior. She was an artist. She's who got me into all of it. Like,
it's awesome
as far as art goes. And she was the person that always encouraged me on my art. Didn't want me to try to make money doing it, because she didn't want me to struggle. She wanted me to have some kind of a career. But
this is great, right? This is career and art kind of.
And that, like, when we were talking about it, and she was talking to some of her friends, she ran a gallery, and she was talking to her other gallery friends, and they were like, oh, he's doing what? Like, tattoo shop? You should help. You should think about backing this one, And sure enough, she called me and she's like, hey, I got a credit card that I've never used before. Why don't we just put the down payment on that shop, and when we get you. So, and that was it. That was it. That's where New Tattoo Inc. came from. I had that shop in Port Orchard for 3 years, and in that process, that's where the tattoo machines came from, because we had an extra room. I had another guy that was a machine builder for 20 years come in, and he said, hey, I got all this equipment. I started buying equipment. We started just anytime we weren't tattooing, we were in that back room.
Oh, wow.
We were grinding the machines that we cast, because he's a master caster. I mean, this guy's known around the world. He's part of like the biggest UK tattoo club, the Bristol Tattoo Club. He's like a recognized, like, this guy knows how to build a tattoo machine. Okay. And I'm lucky to have had time with Ben Hughes. That's
awesome.
Yeah. Phenomenal. Taught me everything that he knows, and probably taught me stuff he didn't want to tell me,
now
in the industry,
Yeah.
But, and then, we moved, and we actually started using Zurn tattoo. Okay. We moved to a bigger spot, and I left him to run that shop, and we moved to Arizona. I started working for Enchanted Dragon, and in Arizona, COVID hit. All the shops stopped. So we just had to scramble to come back. And on my way down to Arizona last time was when I bought OPT.
Okay.
When we left to drive to Arizona, we were just going to stop for 2 weeks, help my buddy who had to have foot surgery, run the shop for 2 weeks. And afterwards, he was like, right when we were getting ready to drive out, he's like, hey, you want to buy the tattoo shop? I was like, what?
Wow.
He's like, you give me $4,000, I'll give you the tattoo shop, everything in it. And I was like, are you kidding me? He's like, no, I want to start a new business. I want to build houses, paint houses and stuff with my boys.
Seems like a steal.
Like, I need like $6,000 technically to do the bonds and everything. So I walked across the street, talked to Lisa, because we had just sold her house to be able to move. And we bought the tattoo shop right then. Wow. And and that was like right before COVID happened. And we were to come back in the summertime and just work summers at the beach,
Yeah.
Go on in the winter, work summers at the beach. It was going to be awesome. And, the COVID thing happened, everything crashed, both shops. The OPT shop closed, but we got notice like a week before we were supposed to get ownership of it, that we could reopen.
Oh.
And we were the first tattoo shop in Washington State to open.
Dang.
Okay. We were the first shop. Well, for like forever, the only thing in our entire county. And so it was perfect. It was like a blessing. We opened, all the tattoo shops in Astoria were closed. They were sending everybody to us. Wow. Tattoo shops in Portland were sending people to us. Whoa. Like, no joke. We were slammed. Like all that first summer after COVID at the beach, we were slammed. Like I've never been slammed before. The whole next winter, we were slammed. Like, wow, like it never happens like that at the beach. The beach just didn't turn off. All of a sudden, everybody could go to the beach because you could social distance at the beach.
Sure.
You know? So
and get a tattoo while you're at it. At the shop that's open.
Because we were like, you know, if you wanted a tattoo, you could get on a list. If there were, you know, we couldn't have more than just the client and the artist in the chair. We kept it down so that we could have that flow of people coming.
Yeah.
And then that's where the get what you get came from. Because there were so many people at the beach. A lot of people just want to get a tattoo and they have no idea what they wanted to do.
And you couldn't have them in the lobby, like looking through books and stuff.
I'm going through books, searching for stuff. So it's just like, you know what? I'm just going to start drawing random weird things. That's what you're going to get. Like if you just want a tattoo and you don't really care, and and they're all cool, weird little tattoos.
Is that like the cheesy pizza and like the
cheesy pizza? There's like one of my favorite ones is there was a whole series of like pickles, like bandit pickles, just a pickle with like a mask on. One of them's got a bag of money next to him. One of them's got like a knife, like he's got a knife behind his back and he's looking all suspicious. Just weird things, you know, little babies with like stocking caps on and like with a like a little hatchet, just like weird things, you know.
Wasn't there one like was it a pineapple harassing
pizza
or something?
Yeah, it was totally a pineapple, like, you know, like shh, don't tell anybody.
That one's so bad. Like it's just, but it's good at the same time. I mean, now was that on the wheel? Was that one on the wheel?
It wasn't the wheel, but that was one of my. I also have a, you know, up for grabs. Like I have a whole board that's just got what it costs if you want to do it.
Yeah.
Just that I draw. That's like, you know, that I'd like to do. Just strange things, cool, kind of sometimes some old school stuff that's like traditional. Sometimes some really neo-traditional stuff. Sometimes just some really weird geometric stuff, because I like to do really abstract things. Like I really came from a background in graffiti. So really it's like bold colors, bold lines, you know, that's what I like to do. That's what's fun.
What are some of the other tattoos that you remember that kind of stand out to you?
Well, there was actually that one of my favorite tattoos still to this day is tattoo that I did on Hogan, and it was a truck diagram. So it was like an independent truck fully taken apart.
Okay.
Like, diagrammed out.
Yeah.
Super cool.
Huh. So you got into building machines in Port Orchard.
Yeah.
And then you kind of carried that with you, perfecting, and you learned a lot from the guy in Port Orchard. And
like, so, you know, I probably made 150 tattoo machines with that guy. And then when we moved, I honestly, I lost my mill, I lost my lathe, I lost my drill, I lost all of my tools. Just everything. And I had to start all over, and I didn't have, I literally just started building again, like I'd say maybe a year and a half ago at the OPT tattoo shop.
Well, it sounds like you were pretty busy doing tattoos there.
Yeah, I was super busy doing tattoos, but at the same time, anytime I wasn't doing a tattoo, I was over there filing on stuff, because I didn't have a mill, I didn't have a lathe, so then I really started making tattoo machines by hand. The old school machines, like this is a machine it's all bent. So it's like pieces that are cut, then that are bent into shape and then brazed. The coils, the cores for them were like reclaimed. I found some other coils. I had to like put them in my drill press and set up like a file so I could press them down onto the file and grind them down slowly, actually flat, to make them the right size to fit. Like,
Oh,
I'm literally like, now at this point, I've been hand making machines, like very hand making machines, for about 2 years. And I went and built with a famous builder. I paid for a day to spend with a gentleman by the name of Seth Safiri, who's like a legend as far as tattoo machine building. And went and built a machine with him. And at that point, he gave me some kind of insights on, hey, if you want to have some of your parts actually made, you know, these are the people to go with. And then now after that, I started talking to some other like big name machine builders. My buddy from Junk Tattoo Machines, Adam, my buddy from Working Class Irons, Beast Man. And yeah, I mean, these guys are like now really giving me a little bit more attention, like paying attention to what I'm building and like commenting. And I've had some other really big builders that I've followed for years now following me, which has been like, I never thought that any of these builders would notice a thing that I'm building.
that's awesome.
And yeah, I'm like, true to how a tattoo machine is supposed to be made, staying within its geometry. This is the space frog. This is my complete total geometry design that now I'm actually having other builders get a hold of this machine. I sent out my first side plate to have another machine builder actually build one of these. And now it's like, it's set in there. This machine is bulletproof. And this is a machine that in 100 years will work just like it does today.
So I'm such a layman when it comes to what a tattoo machine is. Can you just explain to us how does it work? What it takes to work?
Well, really, what the tattoo machine, the traditional tattoo machine that we're using is a doorbell mechanism. It's a forever button. It's just meant to turn on and off and on and off and on and off. It's a coil, which is your magnet, and you have your armature bar, which gets drawn down when the magnet turns on. As soon as the contact is broken, it turns off, it resets itself back to the on position, turns back on. So it's just a reciprocating switch. Super basic. You know, you could really make a tattoo machine out of anything, but to be able to make a tattoo machine that holds up to the on, off, 2.5 million times, you know, like
Yeah.
probably more than that. You're probably talking about in the billions of times that this spring is going to get flexed in the process of tattooing for years before you have to maybe replace that spring, you know.
So where do you put the tattoo needle then? And that's that's an aftermarket thing, right? That doesn't come with this when you buy it.
So basically, you know, your grip will go through the head vise here. You know, this is just my straightening tools for lining things up for when I put everything under tension and line it all up and tighten it. So basically it goes like that. Your needle goes onto the end of this little nipple and it gets driven by that bar as it goes on and off, on and off, on and off. Okay. And that drives the bar through the tube. You'll set up however far you want it to be. So when it's pushed all the way forward is how far that needle comes out. So you have a certain amount of depth. Now, everybody's different about how much depth they like. You know, some people do it really short. I kind of run my machines with a really long throw, like looks like a lot of needle coming out, but I'm kind of back away from you. I can see what's going on that way. I'm not like guessing underneath my tube in a pool of ink what's going on there.
Right. Artist preference.
Yeah,
right?
Artist preference.
So then if somebody wants to get buy a machine from you, see what you have in stock, how do they get a hold of you? And do you custom design stuff as well for people?
Oh yeah, absolutely. We do have an Etsy page that's The Curious Tiger. And, you know, through my Instagram, Zurn Machines, You can always hit me up, DM me through there, and I can always do custom orders. My machines run, you know, 250 to 400 depending on what it is, and that's reasonable because some of these guys that have been doing it for years are $600 to $900 for a tattoo machine.
Right. Also, when you're watching this video too, we're in 2022, so
yeah. Oh, dude, dude, the COVID thing destroyed us, bro. My gloves alone went from $8 a box to $24 a box, dude, for rubber gloves, man.
Yeah.
Like,
well, yeah, that's what EPE or whatever it is.
I mean, it's just like, are you kidding me? Like, that was the first, you know, and it was funny because right before it all happened, I went and saw an old gentleman that has a tattoo shop and a supply company in Tucson. And this old man said to me, you better order all of your supplies if you use disposable stuff right now, because you're not going to be able to get anything.
Dang. And so,
no joke.
Wow. So that brings up the fact you're back in Arizona now. Where do people get ink from you if they're looking for you?
Well, actually, on this Thursday, I'm going to start working at Blood Money Tattoo in Prescott, Arizona.
Okay, there are quite a few resorts, so you're going to have access to snow.
Yeah, I've already been talking to the wife, and I've actually mentioned it to a couple of people that Snowskate Roundup's not dead. I think Snowskate Roundup might find a new mountain, and a new mountain might find Snowskating. So
that's cool, man.
That's the plan at this point. Like, I think I'm going to be spending this summer reaching out to some of the resorts and seeing who would be down with bringing in some new culture. I kind of vanished from the scene, and I've been just working on, you know, remaking myself and making myself into a better person, so I can be a better contributing human to the culture, to the scene, to everything, really, you know. And being an artist, finally finding my outlet in art too. Like, some people go to school for years and years and years, you know. Like I said, I wanted to be a graphic designer. If I would have gotten into that industry, I may have been lucky to sell 300-400 pieces of good art in my life, and I've sold thousands and thousands and thousands of tattoos. You know, I get to interact and be a part of this culture now, you know, and doing it right is super important to me. And I learned that from snowskating, actually. I've been, and you know, some of these other machine builders that I've been talking to have been like, you're very like forthcoming with the information that you know, because a lot of people don't talk. A lot of us don't share our information. But it's kind of like in our industry with snowskating, like, we don't want the new guys coming in to start just making some shoddy equipment because it could look bad for the rest of us. Just like one bad company, one bad product could like just destroy it in a heartbeat, you know. And right now with this is getting phased out, you know. In our culture right now, everybody's going to rotary machines and pens and all this stuff. It's all quiet, you know. It works, but it doesn't work the same. It doesn't hold up the same. And we've gone in this, it's a cycle. We've gone in this before. It went from this tattoo machine to rotary tattoo machines, back to this tattoo machine, back to rotary tattoo machines, back to this tattoo machine, because this tattoo machine works no matter what.
Well, it's like when you're going to buy a garden tool, you can get something that a smith has forged that can outlive you.
Exactly.
Right. And you might pay a little extra for it, but it'll outlive you. Or you can run down to your local hardware store, big box hardware store, get something for, you know, a fraction of the price, but you're going to be replacing it every year.
Exactly. You're just gonna run it until it breaks, and you're not gonna know what happened to it. You're just gonna put it down and just get online and order another one. Or maybe if you're smart, you're gonna order two when you first order it, because you know the first one's gonna die, and you're gonna have to have one there for when you order your next two. You know, but then you start thinking about it, you know, like, how much money are you gonna spend on these machines? And you know, you know, if you're a tattoo artist, you fall into it. And you know, like I said, I've got hundreds of tattoo machines because I collect them now. You know, it becomes a thing, like your quiver.
Yeah,
To have another one.
I
There's
saw
always a condition for another one.
Yeah,
okay?
I saw a post and you had gotten some pieces, and I had imagined that I'm not sure exactly where they go on the machine, but I saw one that was like the Wu-Tang.
Yep.
And so that was kind of cool. So you can definitely get custom machines from you.
Yeah, and that's it. I mean, I've done custom. One of my tattoo artists, I did like an old English tee because his name's Talbert, and it was all hand cut with a jeweler's saw. So it has all it had been blackened and like gun blued and everything. So I mean, the thing is, it looks all antique. It's gangster, you know. It's one that was like it had Dr. Evil on it on the coils, and it was like the side plate was like a pinky.
Yeah.
It's cut out so it looked like the little like pinkies up, you know, because he does the little
man,
that's you know, so
super custom.
Yeah, and like actually one of the newest ones, the thing about this machine is it's actually backwards. So like my contacts are back here rather than up front. On a regular machine, they're up front. See that? It's all back here.
So why would somebody want that configuration?
So this ends up creating like a quicker response in the back because it's a teeter-totter that's breaking it rather than it pulling it down away from the contact. The teeter-totter effect happens. I have a smaller break here, so the response is way quicker. But this armature bar is free to move way further up and down. This is like for putting blacking. If you want to run a big giant needle grouping like a 23 or a 25 or even up to like a 40, like I mean literally like a shovel, this thing will do it.
You keep saying machine, and I keep thinking about the kicker bikes that you used to ride around. Do you still have one?
Oh, I don't have one anymore. One of our guys that was a dealer, his shop got broken into at one point, and I hooked him up with my bike in some moving because I couldn't take it with me, and it was like the exact model that the guy had stolen.
Oh man.
I was just like, you know what, you know, someday I'll come back and I'll need a deal on a bike. He said, so, you know, we've talked about it here soon. I think I'm living in the land where I could actually ride a bike every day. So
yeah,
we might be doing that here soon.
Especially if you got, you know, if you get a location, I might, because those are folks. Those were when I saw Victor and Spicoli actually was I think you guys didn't he make some trip from Seattle to the shop or
it was Spicoli was the first person to ride one of those kicker bikes like on a real road trip. He rode it from Ballard, Washington to San Francisco. We rode all the way down 101. Like I filmed it. His buddy was the support vehicle in the Jeep. Another guy flew out from Michigan, and they gave him a bike to ride, and we rode right onto the Golden Gate Bridge. The owner of the company came ripping onto the fucking bridge in his truck in front of us, paid for us to go through the toll gate, took us all to dinner.
Whoa.
We went like wakeboarding the next day and shit out on his like lake. This dude, it was crazy, bro.
This is a shifter bike.
Yeah, and then he gave Foley a brand new motor. He was like, man. Oh, I got a brand new motor for you driving down here. And
yeah. Wasn't it, I mean, God, my memory's a little foggy, but wasn't it something like how much gas did he use? It was like some minuscule amount.
Yeah, it was nothing. The bikes run on nothing, dude. I mean, they get like, seriously, some of us on those bikes were getting like 80 something miles to the gallon. We're riding these little 110s. Like that was it. He rode a 110. He rode a 110 kicker 3/4 scale bike, hardtail from
shifter.
Shifter bike. Suicide shift. His newer one though, because like the owner eventually ended up giving him one of the new it was a 250 V twin was the upgrade that they ended up doing, and he had Spicoli come down. Spicoli rode for the commercial, He's like,
Whoa.
the guy makes ultralight. So the guy's like flying and filming in his ultralight commercials shit. Like, dude, it's ridiculous. Now this guy bought an island. This guy bought an island, bro. He's gonna start new motorcycles, and he decided so many people are messing with him, and so many people tried to break into his facility that he bought an island to start doing all of his warehousing and all of his work out of.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, you got to get yourself another one.
Yeah, I'm going to, dude. I'm now, and they're full size now, and 250 deep.
Yeah,
and they'll get them. You can get them either centrifugal clutch, you can get them foot clutch. I liked mine with the behind the finger snapper suicide shift.
Well, and wasn't the it was a kit bike, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah, you buy the bike for like $1,900. It's a roller. So I mean, it shows up in a box like 3/4 of the way put together. You put the motor in it, put the front tire on it, and hook everything up, and you're riding the thing around like by the end of the day. You know, I mean, no joke.
And you know, kind of how it goes together, so you can fix things. And
well, and that's the thing too, because it's a kit, and now because Killer's been around, it's Kelly has been making these bikes for so long now that there's a grip of dudes making aftermarket parts for these things. So you want different bars, you want different
ape hangers,
you want different wheels, you will not see two of these bikes that look the same.
That's awesome.
Because as soon as someone gets their roller, it's getting customized right out the box. You know? Yeah. Nobody's putting it together as you might. Every once in a while, you see one of the blue ones just rolling around, blue with white stripes. That's it. But within a few months, that thing's been painted or put risers on it or a different headlight, or like so. Bro, I tell you what, like I got it. Like, like I grew up, riding dirt bikes and stuff, and that was always cool. And like I had said before, when the whole tattoo thing, like I wasn't into the dirty biker thing, and I always like stayed away from tattooing because of that. And now it's like the romance of a bike is there more after I've gone and done some of these rides with these dudes too. Because like the first time I really rode a motorcycle, like on the street, I rode almost 200 miles.
Jeez.
Out of Cordis for Oyster Run.
Yeah.
And back of like 50 Mad Bees, we came rolling into this biker convention where everybody's got Harleys and everybody's got $60,000 bikes and stuff. And we rolled down to the end, and I kid you not, every biker in that place walked all the way to the end to look at these bikes because they were like, what the fuck are these things?
Yeah.
They look like right out of 1935, 1940, like little bobbers. Like, where did these guys come from? Nobody knew anything about those bikes at that point. And then we all rolled out like Mad Bees. Everybody rolling out,
Yeah.
And then we
shifting
and rolled around in Vegas,
Man.
like 40 people deep, I think it was. And that was fun, dude.
Gosh, man. There's one guy I would love to have on here telling stories and talking. I know. And I've talked to him, and I got to reach out to him again. I bugged him. I almost got him, I think.
Yeah, you good at this point because he's got some shit to talk about, dude. And he's been in it from the beginning. He was one of the main finishers, builders, prototypers, riders.
Yeah,
he's goddamn Tony Alva of fucking snow skating, dude. As far as I'm concerned.
Well, and I remember when we went out to what was that, Snowskate, Sitzmark.
Yep.
It's just a style. You know what I mean? Like he just.
Bro, he's just flow.
Style. Yeah.
You see him skateboard. He skateboards the same way. Dude, I broke down in the desert the other day. I was broken down in Tonopah, where the Clown Hotel is.
I'm not familiar with that, but that's where it was like middle of nowhere, huh?
Bro, it's 200 miles from Reno, 214 miles from Vegas.
Oof.
Like in the middle. Desert, yeah, dude, so crazy. Over 7,000 feet up there. 1 minute it's like 90 degrees outside. Next minute it's fucking snowing, bro.
Whoa. I did an interview with Ross, and he was talking about that when they were going through. They got caught in a snowstorm or something and had to go in a drainage ditch or something.
Yeah, dude. My truck, like I was driving through and like I didn't even need to stop, dude. I was like, I probably put some gas in. I had enough gas to drive like all the way to Vegas. And I was like, I'll use the bathroom and get some gas, get something to eat, whatever. Filled my tank up and then my truck wouldn't start.
Oh,
And then the AAA towed me to a shop that told me it was something. And I stayed in a hotel for like 3 days. And then they were like, actually, we can't fix it. We're going to send you a different AAA in like Vegas. So charge me $800 for the fucking tow because it's 100 and something miles over my 100 miles allotted.
yeah, you got to get the premium. You got to. It's
we are now. We are now. So, but then I had to stay another day. Like I got there and the dude fixed my truck in a night. I stayed with Brian Smith, who is actually from Snoqualmie. Yeah,
I recognize the name. Yeah,
he was where like the epicenter of snow skating was when it all started. Where we always would session. We had the rainbow box that was lit up at his house. We had like
okay.
Eggleston was always building us shit that, like,
Hey,
it was the spot. It was our after hours park, 24/7.
Which reminds me, one thing I wanted to see if we had time to get to was your videos. Are they?
Oh yeah.
Are they anywhere? People can see them.
Yeah. If you look up my name, you'll find all the different videos on the different platforms. Like now I have like, I think 3 different YouTube names. And I just kind of, one of them is Snowskate Roundup. One of them's A New Tattoo Inc. One of them's, or maybe there's only 2. I don't know.
Because
they're on those.
Because what is it? No attitude, more gratitude, or something like that.
Just gratitude.
What is it?
No attitude, just gratitude.
And Spicoli, speaking of which, he slides this box that's like
104 feet long, I think, was all those boxes. And they said no snow skater would ever be able to do it. And then Spicoli did it like twice. And he pop shoved it off the end one time. And he ollied over a garbage can off the end one time. Like no shit. Man.
And that's
like I got worked, bro. After getting like maybe 2/3 of the way through it and just getting worked a couple times, I was like done. I know. I kept drifting and I kept getting worked. Like there was one part where you went onto a box that was wider, so if you fell off, you got hipped on the corner of the next box. And I did it too many times. I'll film. I'll film.
Yeah.
Dude, that hurt.
Yeah, I mean that's like got a lot of Ted Amo in there. I hope I pronounced his last name right. And I think
I need to get that out there again because like I tried to upload it once and I think it crashed. I don't know if it's out there actually still. You can look it up. No attitude, just gratitude.
Wait, which is the one you use all the time?
This one.
Zurn machines.
Zurn machines, and it looks like there's like Sam Campbell soup labels. And it's like made out of an old antique butter knife for the front. And then the whole frame is just like bent steel. But I love this thing. This thing is, it's all the way that the contacts are. It's like, just like inside of a doorbell. So it's just this bent brass, same with the rear. Actually, my rear contact is from an antique doorbell. I reclaimed it from it and used it. Like, sometimes I find old stuff that I like to use in the machines. Well, I like most of the machines. My keys, my vice key is I found a place where I can buy. I bought a ton of rusty old antique skeleton keys, and I cut the end off and I use a die and I thread them and I turn them into my thumb screw for my vice. Or like this one, I used it as the rear. Reclaimed
goods.
That's an antique key right there. So is the front. I just clipped it off and threaded it.
First of all, you got to be excited. You're in a hot area, but it's an area that gets snow and there's resorts close.
Yep.
And you found a place where you can do some tattooing. And you've got a shop where you got your machines that you're selling.
Yeah.
I mean, I love hearing it, Victor.
Our next venture will be eventually after we've established ourselves here for a while. We really want to find a location to eventually open our own place, and I'm going to be opening a tattoo museum. I've been collecting tattoo machines for a while. Now with all my connections, I have other builders that have been helping to get some stuff to me so that I can just add to the collection and have like a museum of modern past and modern day tattooing. So
sick.
Yeah.
Well, cool. So why should people buy a tattoo machine from you at Zurn Machines on Instagram?
Because I do it just like they did 100 years ago. And this tattoo machine right here will last you over 100 years. It'll outlast you. My tattoo machines will outlast you. The only thing that you'll ever have to replace on this tattoo machine is the spring if it breaks. And I literally put every bit of my everything into every one of these. I mean, it has to be perfect. You know, I being the artist and now being able to make the tool, like there's nothing like giving this to an artist and having them use it, just like in Snowskating, and being like, it was beautiful. You know, like it worked better than I expected. That's all we can ever ask for.
That's awesome. Thanks for coming back on the show, Victor.
Oh yeah, man, anytime. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us on this installment of AquaBrainChats. Check us out at Brain Aqua. Subscribe to Vic. Subscribe to us. And here's a video we think you'll like. Till next time,